It is Thursday. Welcome to the CBSN Minnesota Daybreaker. I'm Jason DeRusha. Thanks for hanging out with us here. Whether you're watching on CBSN Minnesota or Facebook, we're glad to have you here. We're going to get you up to speed on the news and the weather. If you don't have a window in your home, you might not know it's raining outside. Just a little nice kind of soaker, which we could use. I don't know about you. My lawn is all brown and kind of crunchy, so this is good news. And the better news is that this stuff is mostly going to be gone by midday. So depending on where you live, it may linger into 1 or 2 this afternoon. But if you have plans to grill out or go to one of our restaurants and sit on an outdoor patio, you should be good to go for tonight. And it'll be much more mild than it was yesterday. It's a little steamy yesterday. Expect those mosquitoes to be out at it tonight, that's for sure. It'll warm up again tomorrow. Friday will be warm, and then we start to settle into a more normal fall weather pattern. Let's talk about this. I am fascinated with electric cars. I am very interested in switching to electric. And in 15 years, California, the first U.S. state to say we're done with gas. Gas-powered cars are over. Gas-powered trucks are over. No, they're not going to come and confiscate all of your cars. You can still sell used cars, but they're saying new gas engine cars will not be sold in California by 2035. We've seen this happen in some countries around the world. Battery technology getting better and better. Tesla, probably the most popular luxury car on the market. Tesla just announcing that within a couple of years they expect to have a $25,000 car on the market, which is amazing. I mean, the average cost of a new car in the U.S. right now is $40,000. So what do you think? Does it take a state to pass this sort of action to get the car makers to really step it up? Would you buy an electric car? What's your hesitation? Why haven't you bought an electric car? In Minnesota, I think a lot of us need to tow a boat. That's kind of the big hang-up. But you could have one gas car, one electric car. I don't know. Tell me what you think. I'm curious what you guys think about electric cars, where you're at on this issue, and whether you think it takes the government to take action to get the car makers to move. Share your thoughts on the WCCO TV Facebook page, and we'll read through a few in a moment. Let's update you on the Breonna Taylor case. Protests, as expected, erupted all over the country because of a lack of charges in Breonna Taylor's death. That did include here in the Twin Cities. A grand jury decided just one of the police officers involved in the shooting of Taylor will face criminal charges, but it isn't even for her death. Louisville police raided Taylor's home back in March. Investigators say her boyfriend fired at officers first, and he has said that he fired first. He thought it was an ex-boyfriend of hers who was a drug dealer who was knocking on the door. It was police. There was a barrage of gunfire. Taylor was killed. One officer just shooting almost indiscriminately into other apartments. Protesters, of course, filled the streets. 2 sides of I-94 in Minnesota were blocked off in St. Paul. Also 330 miles east of Milwaukee. The St. Paul protest started at the Capitol yesterday afternoon. Part of that group, dozens of people, marched onto University and then got onto I-94, blocking it for about half an hour. At least 2 people were detained. Our team spoke with protesters as they called for justice again.
When will it stop? And only when America says, when white America says, this is not tolerated here, this is not going to be tolerated anymore for those, for Black America, for American descendants of slavery. We've been going through this for 401 years now. When will it end?
So here we are 57 years later, and all we get is this Democratic Party pretending to share this dream with us, but in reality, their real dream is just for us to vote them into office.
Protests continued through the night from cities like New York to Sacramento, Grand Rapids, and Louisville. 2 police officers are recovering after being shot from demonstrations there. Both expected to recover. Louisville PD says a suspect is in custody. They arrested around nearly 100 people. There were curfews in effect in Louisville. 40 days now until the November election. Today, Vice President Mike Pence and Ivanka Trump are in Minneapolis. They'll be talking law and order. That is the Republicans' big issue right now. Pence and Ivanka Trump meeting with a group of police officers, cops for Trump. Before that, the vice president will visit a manufacturing plant in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Tomorrow, Ivanka Trump plans on meeting with supporters in Winona. President Trump expected to pay his respects to Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg today. Her body will lie in repose one more day outside the Supreme Court. Tomorrow, Ginsburg will become the first woman to lie in state at the U.S. Capitol. A Minnesota family says someone set fire to their property because they're Trump supporters. Deanna and Dennis Mola woke up to their garage and trucks burning outside their Brooklyn Center home yesterday. 2 Trump flags had been hanging there. Dennis says he saw 3 people running away from his house, but he was really more focused on getting his family out of there safely.
The thing for me was my kids, my wife, what's going on. This kind of stuff should not happen, especially over beliefs of some sort.
Now, of course, a lot of question about what really was going on in terms of this graffiti. You see somebody wrote Biden 2020 BLM, which means Black Lives Matter, and then the anarchy symbol of an A with a circle around it. You know, does that make a lot of sense that you would have an anarchy sign next to a Biden 2020 tag? So who knows exactly what the intent was of the person who set fire here, the FBI and the ATF, both investigating. Troubling, regardless. Certainly those kids in danger because of someone setting fire here. COVID-19 will be changing how millions ring in the new year. What a shame for Ryan Seacrest, right? What about Anderson Cooper? What about Andy Cohen? What are these guys going to do? It's going to be lame that they're going to be just like randomly kissing police officers via Zoom like they used to do at the Times Square celebration. It's, you know, no ball drop. It'll be on video. There'll be some kind of dumb virtual party and a bunch of socially distanced, boring stuff. New Year's Day is 99 days away. I've always wanted to do a Jason's Rockin' New Year's Eve right here at the TV station. I'll tell you, New Year's Eve in downtown Minneapolis is, by its nature, a socially distant scenario. It's so cold. No one will be down here. Stormy weather in Texas means some lucky, lucky dogs are in Minnesota. And some of you might be lucky to get some of these dogs. A shelter in the Houston area sent about 30 dogs to Minnesota to free up some room. They're worried there are going to be more strays because of the tropical storm down there. Look at these doggos. There's some good-looking dogs here at the Animal Humane Society in Golden Valley. Yeah, that dog won't be in the cone of shame forever. Don't you worry about it. Youngest dog is 3 weeks old, so some puppies. There's 3-year-old dogs, too, if maybe you don't want all the trouble of starting with the puppy. Humane Society, make sure they're healthy, make sure they're up to date on vaccinations, and then they get put up for adoption in the next few days. So great how Minnesotans always step up and adopt these dogs from the South, where there's just not as many homes available, perhaps, for the dogs down there. We love our puppies. NASA says a newly discovered asteroid will zoom past the Earth this morning. That's what they're telling us, if you trust the government. As for me, I will be taking cover because there's a good chance this is the last day we will all experience life on Earth. Yep, this might be the end. The rock is called 2020 SW. We're told it's about the size of a school bus. Sure, NASA says it'll come within about 13,000 miles of the planet. 13,000 miles is closer than the moon. It's closer than some weather satellites. Are you going to rule out whether or not we get slammed into by an asteroid today? Stay vigilant. That's all I'm saying. Keep your eyes open. We don't know who's driving that thing. It just pow. How about we talk coffee? Are you drinking coffee? Do you like coffee? Maybe this should have been our talker instead of the car thing. What was I thinking? Sorry, Chris. Best coffee cities. Chris is our producer. We talk every morning about what we're going to talk about in this thing, and I screwed up. We should have talked coffee. Wallet Hub, which as far as I can tell is just a website designed to post like stupid lists that they make up the criteria for. They have ranked the best coffee cities in the United States. So researchers looked at 100 of the largest cities in America, and they ran a lot of bogus kind of stats, like the number of coffee shops, the number of coffee roasters, the average price for the coffee. So here you go. Seattle Washington, number 1. Makes sense, right? Home of Starbucks, there's coffee shops. Actually, most of the coffee shops have another coffee shop inside them in Seattle. San Fran is number 2, sure. Portland, okay. Minneapolis, 11. I really think we should be higher on that. We have a great coffee culture here. So many incredible roasters. And that's what we should have talked about. What's your favorite local coffee roaster? What's your favorite, Eric?
I don't drink coffee.
You don't drink coffee? Yeah. Well, thanks.
I don't care where we are on this list.
Thanks for nothing. Thanks for nothing. Ron, do you have a favorite coffee?
Station Caribou.
Station Caribou. Free coffee is Ron's favorite.
Where do we rank for free coffee?
Free coffee? You know, do you ever wonder why it is that coffee is something that is the workplace perk that's expected? If they took away the coffee makers here in the station, people would lose their mind. But there's no fill salad.
If I find out that there's a place that hires that has free kombucha, I'm gone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So long, digital guy.
Yeah, you are every stereotype imaginable of an internet team employee. Kombucha. Oof. Why don't you just drink a bottle of vinegar? All right, let's talk electric cars and government regulation. Eric, do people have thoughts about this or not? Was this a swing and a miss?
No, it was not a swing and a miss.
All right.
No,
good.
Actually, although more people want to talk about who they're voting for. But
surprising.
Amanda says, yes, it's a great idea. If more states did this, more options for good alternatives would be developed and more easily available. We need to do more to help the planet.
Well, I agree. I think, I don't love government telling private business what to do, but when it comes to emission standards, sometimes you need someone to say, here's what we're doing, and then the industry moves.
Right. This is air we breathe. Darla Ann says government should not be telling us what type of car we drive.
Yeah, I understand that too. I mean, people have so many different circumstances, and if you say you have 4 kids in your family, I don't think there's an electric car right now that you could put all of your kids in.
Right. Shelley said something that I saw a couple other people comment on. What about the long commute or sales people that are on the road traveling all day? Does electric cars stay charged that long when traveling hundreds of miles in one day?
The range anxiety, I think, is the number 1 issue that people have with electric cars, and they're getting so much better. So much better. The Prius will go 300 miles or so. Right. It's not perfect for everyone, but most people only drive about 20 miles a day.
And Joan, Becca, Krista, Mary Kay, and Marie all say they would watch your New Year's Eve Rockin' Special.
Thank you. See? I hope our bosses are listening. How many years have we been trying to get this going? It's a double-edged sword, though. Do I really want to work on New Year's Eve? How bad do I want to do the rock? I want it to be low budget, kind of like this. 1 camera and just a couple of idiots talking to you. That's what I want to do. That's how I want to ring in the new year. It's better than the tape delay. We get hosed in the Midwest, don't you think?
Yes.
It's stupid. You see New York celebrating at 11, and then they're just cleaning up trash, and you're like, what about us? All right.
Yeah, but they delay it by an hour.
Yeah.
They do now, anyway. You've been in the morning show too long.
No, they show it at 11. They show it live now, right?
I know.
Who knows? Yeah. Eric's wrong. I'm being told you're wrong.
Okay, fine.
Well,
ask me about the Oscars.
This was fun. Welcome to CBSN Minnesota Daybreaker, where we do show meetings right in the program. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll do this again tomorrow, unless the bosses are watching and it gets canceled.